Hi everyone, welcome to this demo video which will look at how to connect a Reface DX with an external Midi and Sysex controller, which is here the BCR2000. What it does is that it gives you a hands-on access to some of the functionality that the DX has. And that I found that it makes the sound sculpting and the sound design that much easier. So I'm just going to run through some of the main features. Here I've set up the sort of, this is the initialized patch, and we're looking at the first functionality which I set up, which is an envelope, a 4-stage ADSR envelope. The envelopes of the DX are very comprehensive. Each operator has its own envelope, which they don't share automatically, and there are 8 stages effectively, or 8 levels. There's eight levels and rates that you can play with. What I've done here is to make a very simple sort of attack, decay, sustain, release controller for them, which is at the front of the template for the BCR, which gives a little bit of it makes it effectively a lot more straightforward to just sculpt the sound than going through the faders that are provided on the machine. Okay, I also have set up control for velocity. Now this is something that is sent through Sysex rather than Midi, and that has that's a very big controller to have. I find the velocity, because you can have basically out of the same patch a plucky sound and a pad type sound, just relying on velocity, which is kind of what I'm going to here. So that's some of the issues. I've set controllers for the effects, so each effect is accessible from the front panel, and depth and time, or basically the parameter 1 and parameter 2 of each effect can be controlled from the BCR as well, which again is something that just makes it that little bit easier for me to play around with the sound. And this is useful both when coming up with a new patch, or when performing, or especially if you run the looper, you can then start editing the sound as the sequence is running. That's a very nice thing. So these are the feedback levels on the left hand side, and here I'm playing with the frequency of each of the operators. So here the coarse frequency, and below the fine frequency. I mean, there's some stepping obviously on the coarse frequency, because there's only 31 steps out of the turn, but that's just the way it is. It's not necessarily an issue. I haven't found. I think it can be used for rhythmic purposes as well, which is also quite interesting. Okay, the feedback can be accessed through the front panel as well. Each of the operators, both a sort of square and sawtooth feedback mode. They're just great. I didn't know that much about FM before getting into that synth, and my understanding was that you would have needed to use several operators to get this sort of the ability to get a different wave shape. So obviously the DX has feedback function for all, or each of its oscillators, which gives quite a lot of possibility. Okay, I've also brought to the front panel the LFO section, which is actually quite comprehensive. I know there's some criticism that certain element of the synth can't be modulated by the LFO, but quite a lot can. The pitch can be modulated, as well as the sort of the amplitude of each of the operators, and each one can be turned on and off, which is what I'm doing right now. So if you send the sort of the LFO to the amp, you're going to have a tremolo effect. If you send it to the pitch, you're going to have a vibrato effect. And this is kind of what I'm exploring here. I found that it's near impossible to use the LFO on the synth with the current with the sliders. I just never went into it. It was just too cumbersome. Whereas having it up front like that, it's actually quite nice. Okay, so that's a lot of fun. On page 2, I have I've set envelope generators for each of the operators and the sort of the 8-stage envelope generator. So you can see here now that is something which requires time. It is. I find it quite tricky actually to play with this level of detail, but it's definitely much easier to handle with the BCR than it is with the onboard sliders. So here we're looking at operator 4, and you can see how each stage and each level and rate can be modulated. I actually have 3 pages for the BCR on that. On the 3rd page I have a range of controls, but the main one here, which is the one I'm going to be playing with right now, is the pitch envelope, whereby you can control in a similar way to the envelope generators for the amplification. You can play with the pitch and have an envelope affecting the pitch, and this is what I'm sculpting here. It can be quite crazy, but one of the nice things is that you can enable it and disable it for each of the operators. So you can send that only to some of the operators, not all of them. I think that's when it becomes interesting. See here, I'm turning them on and off. So that pitch envelope is only applied to operator 4 right now. Operator 2 and operator 4. Okay, I'm going back to put it back to 0. All these messages are sent through Sysex. There is no MIDI control for these controls on the DX. So it's a specific Sysex message being sent by the BCR, which can be done, which is great. That's really one of the wonderful things about the BCR, is that it has this flexibility. So anyway, here is the pitch envelope being back to 0. Okay, so there's something in the looper that's now playing. And it's going to be I think that's a good way of exploring the sound and see what can be done. So adjusting the feedback levels obviously has a big impact, a little bit like a reverse cut-off filter. Changing the velocity level for operator 1 and 2 will change the way the plug sound comes in or not. And obviously bringing the levels down changes the whole thing. This is something I really quite like, actually, is to have just one patch where two operators, where the four operators are divided in two sections, where operator 2 is modulating operator 1 and operator 4 is modulating or affecting operator 3, and one of them has a pad, the other one has a sort of more percussive sound, and just using the velocity to let them trigger at different times, that gives you the possibility of having a sort of almost a split keyboard, which I found really useful. So you can hear the sort of the two operators affected by LFO now are these operator 3 and 4, and the operators with the heavy feedback and the high velocity, they're the one that will be responding to the more percussive use of the keyboard. Changing a bit of delay in the LFO. You see, all these things are very cumbersome to do with the sliders. I mean, you don't really have the same immediacy as that. This is actually quite nice. I do spend a lot of time just playing around and moving the sliders up and down, or the knobs up and down. That's the shape of the LFO wave. Anyway, I'm sure you can see where this is going. I hope it's useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to, you can download the zip file. I think there should be a link in the comment section, description section, and yeah, you can just try to have a go at it yourself. If you have one of these machines, then that works really well. I know there are other platforms that can send Sysex, but as far as I'm concerned, this is working just fine. Anyway, just drop me a message if there's anything you're not quite clear about. I'll be happy to help. Good luck, have fun, and feel free to give us a thumbs up if you liked it, or subscribe, or just check out the other videos. There's some more music on the channel. Thank you.